So let me ask you this, because I built all of this up on purpose. So now you have the trust.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to call it butting heads, but it's butting heads. We, as recruiters, so let me give you a little bit of background. We have our gold medal candidate, our
Okay.
silver medal, and we know what they are already because we've went through the resumes with a fine tooth comb. We've screened, we've sent them to the hiring manager. The hiring manager looks at the resume and says, I don't want to talk to this candidate,
Mm.
which has happened to me more than once. They haven't talked to them, but you talked to them already. I don't want to talk to this candidate. And that's why I said you have to get that rapport, you have to get that trust. So, what do you do in that situation? Again, as the recruiter, you're supposed to be the subject matter expert on HR. How do you deal with that situation?
And as a recruiter, you will definitely experience those types of hiring managers. Not all of them are great to work with. Again, you have to know how to work with different personalities as a recruiter, which is, a skill under leadership, right? So, what you do as a recruiter is you sit down and you try to think of ways to try to communicate with that hiring manager, and then you get on the phone, you talk to them, you walk through the job description, the resume, and what the candidate has shared with you, and try to get an understanding of why the hiring manager doesn't want to move forward with that person, because it could be something that they know that they just didn't want to put in writing. And so that's why it's good to have that relationship with your hiring manager, so when you talk with that person, they can share with you what their concerns are. And then once you understand their concerns, and you can either find a solution to those concerns, or you agree with the hiring manager, okay, so this candidate may not be best, and then you'll know how to revisit your search. And then sometimes it's also just making sure that that manager does their job, and hire and interviewing that person. If that person meets all the qualifications and the hiring manager cannot justify why they don't want to interview that person, then you need to make sure that they get on the phone and interview with that candidate. So you have to figure out what those steps are, what your policies are at your company, to make sure that that manager is doing their job, because you're doing yours and they're making your job harder by just Xing out candidates who qualify for the job. Another thing could be where recruiters can back up a little bit, just so that hiring managers can see the value in the work that you do as a recruiter, and say, okay, I'm going to give you access so you can review 150 resumes, and you tell me the candidates that you want me to screen before they present it to you. And then sometimes their managers would do that because they think it's easy. They go through these resumes and may say, oh, these are my top five. Okay, I need five more. I need five more out of the 150 that you just sent. And you're going to screen these candidates, and either they meet the requirements or they don't. And sometimes hiring managers may want to speak with a candidate that don't meet the requirements. So as a recruiter, that's when you step in as HR expert and you say, okay, hold on, you cannot interview this candidate because they do not meet the minimum requirements. And if we need to make the adjustments of the job description, you have to take the appropriate steps to make those changes so that we can repost this ad before you meet with that candidate. Okay. So it's a lot of steps that you have to do. But you will bump heads with some hiring managers because they want to do what they want to do because it's their department. But at the same time, they have to follow the rules. They have to follow the company rules
Do
legally.
you? Oh, definitely. Do you have a story about a resume and a hiring manager that you kind of had to talk to them about? Like I have a couple. The one that I can think of right off the top of my head, I had a hiring manager before he even looked at a resume. He just put it through spell check. Never looked at it, put it through spell check. If something red came up, he wouldn't interview him. So
Hmm.
one day he does this big long email with my manager, his manager's manager. This person has three misspelled words. I said, "Can you please send it?" One of the misspelled words was the person's name. The other one was the name of the college. No, the name of the street they lived on. It was the person's name, the name of the street, and something else that so it wasn't misspelled. But he literally never would even read the resume. He would just put it through spell check to try to shorten the amount of people he had to speak to. That was the craziest one ever, and I had to go back and say, "You didn't look at what was misspelled."
Hmm.
Do you have anything? It doesn't have to be like that ridiculous because that was utterly ridiculous.
It was.
Um, because they were just like, I don't want to talk to them. There's three misspelled words. The person's name and the street they live on. Like, are you serious?
Yeah, I think one that I can recall is bringing on hiring a new district manager at the time for a company I was hiring for. And they just had a really good relationship with one of their employees. Really good. They were thriving. The store was thriving. Like they were just doing great. A new store was getting ready to open, and the manager wanted to put, well, the district manager wanted to put that employee into a store manager role at the time. But that person did not meet the requirements. So it was literally me sharing with this district manager. We had a great relationship, but it was just me sharing with him the reasons why we couldn't promote that person into that role. However, in such and such months, we can promote them into a store manager role or another role that could potentially get them into that store manager role quicker. And sometimes it's just making them understand and see why, and they just didn't get it at the time. It's like they're doing this, we're making this amount in sales, and they get along with everybody, the people love them, and they'll be great for the new store. And I see the vision, I get it, but we also got to make sure that we are giving everybody a chance and we're being fair. Are you now showing the same attention to the other employees as well, who can also thrive? Are they learning from you? Are they learning from this other employee as well? So we had to be very careful with that. And he fought really, really hard, and I understand why he fought really, really hard to put that person into that role. But we just had to follow the rules, and I'm always going to say the rules. But that person ended up thriving and eventually got into a store manager role, but they had to follow the steps that I provided to that district manager in a quicker way to get them there.
Well, thank you so much for coming today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I do want to go ahead and let everybody know what we have coming up in August. We have it's called The Changing Landscape of Human Resources. Sorry, brain just went for a second. The Changing Landscape of Human Resources. We're going to throw something coming up here this August, and it's going to be a holistic approach to human resources, from conflict resolution, law side of it, finance, marketing. Am I missing anything?
You said it all, I think. The psychology part of everything, especially when it comes to working with people from different backgrounds. And you already mentioned the legal side of things, which is extremely important. Recruiters, you will meet with expert recruiters or people who actually own recruiting agencies, so they can kind of talk to you a little bit about that. So yes, in August of 2023, we will be hosting our first virtual event for the changing landscape of human resources, which is established, or which we've created for new businesses, but also established businesses who want to either streamline their HR department or who needs to create their HR department. And during that time, Wilfred and I will be working together on different topics. I'm more so on the legal aspect of things, and Wilfred more so on the recruiting side of things, but we will be working together to help you build that HR department or to retrain your current HR department or help you build that.
So I definitely look forward to seeing you guys there. There will be a lot more information coming out in months to come, the exact date, pricing, things of that nature. But definitely come and learn some things from myself, LaToya, and some other people we're having coming in. It's not just us. We don't know everything, so we're bringing in other experts so you can get the holistic approach to HR. So LaToya, let everybody know where they can find you.
So, as I mentioned earlier, we are going through a rebranding. So, we renamed our company from Global Placement Services to Sutton Elevation and Consulting, which you will eventually be able to find us at Sutton Elevation and Consulting. But right now, you can still find us on Global Placement Services platform across all social medias. If you need to send us an email, you can email us at info@globalplacementservice.com.
Well, thank you so much for coming on again. And you guys will be seeing us again in the next coming up months with some other information for everybody, okay? And as
Absolutely.
always, have a great day and see you next time.
See you next time. Bye, everyone.